morning. I don't even know where to start. I'm too excited. I need to calm down. Hello everyone. You find me in a setting that I am not normally in and probably won't be in very often in the future, so don't get used to it. But I'm currently in a hire car that I'm gonna drive to Ross-on-Wye. So I'm going on holiday and I'm so excited. It's like a grey, drizzly day. It's 2 minutes past 10. It's a Wednesday. It's like such an average day, but I'm going to this tiny little cottage, this like stone bothy with a wood burning stove and a big comfy armchair, and I'm just gonna sit in this armchair in front of this wood burning stove and knit for 2 days. I'm so excited. Regardless of what format the video takes, I think I'm just gonna take you along with me on the trip because I'm going completely by myself. And people keep being like, oh my god, are you sure you're going by yourself? Wow. As if I'm going to like the Himalayas or something. Like, it's just down the M4. I think I'll be fine. I honestly think I'll be fine, but people are honestly treating me like I'm such a brave soul, you know? Very weird. Anyway, better get going. I've got to figure out, like, this car is so high tech. There are no dials on the dashboard. There's just a screen. How do I know how much fuel I have? Okay, I'm gonna figure out how this works and then yeah. Okay, we have just arrived at our first stop of the day. We're in Oxford. For those of you who haven't followed the videos so far, this is where I'm applying to drama school. I applied last year. There are so many rounds. Like, you send off a first tape, like self-tape, that's round 1, and then there's a recall in person at the school, and if you get through that, then there's another recall in person at the school, and if you get through that, you either get given a place or you get put on a waiting list. And last year I got put on a waiting list, and if someone drops out or doesn't accept their place, then the people on the waiting list get next pick. Last year I got to the waiting list, so I feel a bit like I'm trying to do Takeshi's Castle twice. But anyway, I love it here. It's gorgeous. We can spend a couple of hours here. I think I've arrived, but it's pitch black and I've just driven up this track in the middle of nowhere. Just been in the car all day. Oh my god. That took so long. I spent way too long in Oxford just faffing about, just fucking faffing, just faffing. Anyway, treats. Wow. Wow. Okay, she's tired. She needs to stand up, but also, oh god, I can't wait to get in the bath. Oh, fucking hell. Right. There it is. Oh my god. There it is. Oh my God. Wow, this is amazing. I feel like I'm meant to be in the woods. Like I feel at home here. I feel so at ease, but also like energized and inspired by how beautiful this is. I've been trying not to get my phone out. I'm not getting my phone out for like directions and stuff, following the map. But I just wanted to film and just sort of record how right this feels, you know? I feel kind of emotional because I feel like, you know how some people say that like they feel at home by the sea. I just feel so at home here in the woods, in the trees. I just feel like, I mean, look at that. I feel very safe, even though I honestly have no idea where I am. Oh look, doggy. I can't believe what just happened. I was just walking along. In fact, it's the last clip where I was walking along and I was like, oh, a doggy. And I said to the owner, I was like, what type of dog is this? And they were like, I was a Münsterlander. And I was like, no, stop. Like, I've been looking for a Münsterlander all my life. And he was like, well, this Münsterlander has just sired a litter. Can you... I can't believe... I'm still in shock. Like, I can't believe it. I'm not in a position right now to have a dog. I mean, everything is very unstable. Like, I don't know what my work is going to be. I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know if I'm going to drama school in September. I don't know if I'm going to be in the country. Like, there are so many things that I don't know. And so it's really not the right time for me to get a dog. And he was like, well, the litter will be ready in like 3 to 4 months. That's like March. I might know a lot more about my situation by March. What if this is what's meant to happen now? Like, I think sometimes I focus on when the universe kind of works against me. You know, you really want this thing. You think it's going really well and then it doesn't happen. And you're like, why is this not working? But maybe that was the universe working for me. Like, what are the chances that I'm in a wood? I have no idea where I am. In a part of the country I've never been to before. And I'm walking down some random path that I randomly decided to take on a walk that I didn't plan and didn't, you know, have on my agenda, and was just like, well, I'll just spend a couple of hours outside. And I come across the exact, very rare dog that I've been looking for, and he's gorgeous and so sweet and such a gorgeous temperament. And that dog has just sired a litter in the city where I currently live. I just feel like I can't ignore that. But I don't know what to do with that information, because on the one hand, I really want to go to drama school, and I've raised all this money to be able to do it, and it's something I've wanted for so long, and I've denied myself for so long, and finally, you know, I have the opportunity to do it, and hopefully I'll get in. I might not get in, but the plan is hopefully, you know, I'll get in, and I really want to do that. But the other side of it is there's no guarantees. There's no guarantee that I'll get in. Even if I get in and it goes really well, even if I get in, it goes really well and I get an agent and then I get a job, whatever, there's no guarantee that I'll be able to make a career out of it or a living. Like, I'm probably going to need to do something else for work. And I know that I want to live in the countryside, especially after this. I mean, I know that I don't want to live in London forever. Oh, someone's calling me. This just keeps getting better. Oh my God, this is so muddy. Wow, this is very, very muddy. The wife of the man that I met on the trail with the dog just called me and said, would I like to come over to meet their other Munsterlander? Oh my God. Because they've got a girl and a boy, both from the same family. And would I like to come over for tea and meet them? And they literally live the other side of the woodland that I'm currently getting stuck in the mud in. She's just told me where she lives and I'm going to go and meet them. It's just insane. This is just so lovely. I'm having such a nice time. Wow, okay, I've got to concentrate because it's very muddy and you can't even see where the mud is because it's all covered by leaves. Okay, gotta go. Hey gang, so I'm in my tiny little cabin in the middle of the woods. I love it here so much. And now it is time for the knitting updates, knitting podcast part of this video. I have a lot with me. Not even everything that I'm working on, but I do have a lot with me. It's also freezing in here, so I'm wearing the step-by-step sweater, Gigant Weasley inspired, that I made earlier this year. First thing to show you is the Polar Teddy cardigan. It's so super cozy and warm. I'm knitting it with Rowan Soft Boucle held double. It's merino wool with super fine alpaca, but it does have some, I think, polyamide in it. I'm not normally a huge fan of knitting with anything other than wool. I just want the natural fibres, but I didn't even realise that it had polyamide in it when I bought it. And I don't mind because it's so cozy. So this is the jacket so far. It looks almost done, but it's actually quite far from being done. Obviously, I still have this sleeve to finish. And then it also needs the collar and the button band. In the pattern, she does the collar and then she does the button band, and the button band goes all the way up to the top of the collar. But I think I'm going to do it the other way around, because in sewing anyway, you would always insert the button band into the collar. And I feel like it would be a little bit weird to have a collar going like, you know, and then like a button band all the way to the top. I can't really picture how that would finish nicely. So I think I'm going to do it the other way around and just extend my collar a little bit further and only do the button band to the top of this there. And then I'm also going to do, so I've cast off these edges, but I'm actually going to undo that cast off, maybe knit one more round with the cast off wool, and then I'm going to do an I-cord edge on all of my edges. So I was thinking of doing a contrast. I thought I might do like a kind of natural brown, like an undyed wool or something like that, but actually it just felt a bit too much of a statement, I think. So in the end I went for this. This is Sanders Gone Peer Gynt in the colour, well, 2650. I mean, I don't know if that has a name, which is a pretty good match. And I haven't yet worked out how I'm going to do the buttonholes, because The buttons I bought with these toggle buttons. I think they'll be really cute, but I haven't yet worked out like what type of buttonhole I want, and whether I want like a loop or I'll do a buttonhole like actually in the button band. I don't know, I haven't worked that bit out yet, but that's going to be in the boucle anyway. I'm a little bit, it's a little bit frustrating because I actually have so much drops Nepal, because I think I've talked about it in a video before, but like for some reason at some point I did a massive order of drops Nepal in loads of colours that I just never use and I never wear. So I was like, why did I do that? And as soon as it arrived, I was like, what was my plan? Like, what did I think I was going to do with this? I obviously had a plan at the time, but like Christ knows what it was. So I have drops Nepal in colour 0300. I don't know if that's, I think it's like beige. I think it's literally called beige. And it's almost the right colour. It's a tiny, tiny bit too dirty. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell, but it's just like a shade too brown. So I bought this one anyway, and I think this will work. I think this will be really cute. And it's my first time using Sanders Gone Peer Gynt, so that'll be exciting to try that out because everybody's going on about it. The other thing to say with this one is that you can kind of tell a little bit, and it might go away with blocking, but the decreases were in a really weird place in the pattern. They're like at the back of the sleeve. Normally I'm used to decreases kind of coming from like here, like under the arm, but these ones came really from the back of the arm. So I don't know if that affects the shape. Like when I put my arm up there, it doesn't look like it affects the shape. But when my arm's down, it just looks like the drape of the sleeve is a bit weird. So we'll see how that goes after blocking. I don't think it'll matter too much, but like, I don't really know why that was the case. The other thing to say with this is that I wanted it to be like really kind of like fluffy, but like a more textural. And I did a little sample in stockinette stitch, and it just felt too flat, I think. So I actually ended up, like the pattern is in stockinette stitch, but I actually ended up knitting this in moss stitch, which I way prefer. Like it looks almost like fleece. I'm glad I made that decision because I think that the moss stitch looks really good. And it looks a lot more like a sheep, which was exactly the vibe I wanted. I'm actually gonna keep this over my legs because it is super warm. So the next thing that I have to show you is sort of not really, it's on my needles, but it like, I haven't really started it yet. And that is this swatch for an as yet undecided pattern that I'm gonna make. I really don't know, like I haven't decided if I'm gonna make the pattern or if the pattern already exists and I just haven't found it, or maybe I'm gonna use like a combination of some different patterns that do exist. I don't know. But I really want to make a version of this Cézanne jumper. It's called the Niels jumper. And I think it's just so gorgeous. Like, I think it's the combination of the lovely traditional, but also quite playful green color, paralleled with the traditional like cable lace work, paired with really playful bobbles. I just love that. Like I love this jumper so much, and I really want to knit a version for myself. And I have the mohair, so this is the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in clover green. I have 8 balls of this. I just needed to find something to pair it with, and I think this is really good because I went for like a lighter mohair, because in the original, like in the jumper, it almost has this kind of shimmer to it. Like the green isn't just like a emerald green, like a green. It's like, it kind of pops and it has kind of a lighter texture to it. And that really comes out well in the bobbles, especially, and in the cable work. Like, I think that looks really nice. So I wanted to pair it with a yarn that had kind of texture and was a deeper, kind of more emerald green, so that I would get this lovely colour. And actually I think I've achieved that with this sample. This is Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift in the colour Prairie. Now the thing is, this yarn only comes in 25-gram balls. Is that true? Yeah, 25-gram balls, about 100 meters. Because the yarn is specifically for Fair Isle knitting, where you've got lots of different colours and you're using like a tiny amount of each colour in these very complicated Fair Isle patterns, which is lovely, like that's great, and it seems like a really good quality wool, but that's not what I'm using this for. And I just got a bit nervous that, like, firstly, would it be quite itchy? I mean, it's quite a coarse yarn. It's very kind of Highlands of Scotland type of yarn. So I just got like a bit worried that if I used that for a very different pattern, it wouldn't kind of be the best thing for it. But actually this sample looks lovely. It looks really nice. I think I'm going to try and maybe do the rest of the sample in not the pattern or the kind of texture, because I haven't really worked out what that is yet. But I'm going to try some bobbles, I'm going to try some cables, try a little bit of lace work, and kind of see how it looks in this fabric. But so far, I love this combination. I absolutely love the colour that it makes. I think that colour is just perfect. It's exactly what I want it to be. I just love that so much. And I love, like, I hadn't really knitted with mohair before. I knitted like a cardigan earlier this year, and that was my first time knitting with mohair. And I always thought it was a little bit old-fashioned. Like, I thought, you know, mohair cardigans were like very 90s, noughties. Then I knitted with it, and I just love how when you add a mohair to a yarn, it can completely change it and like elevate the yarn, add more dimension to the colour. I just love it. I think it's amazing. Big fan of mohair. So that is a winner. However, there's a curveball here, because when I went to Oxford Yarn Store, I spent probably 45 minutes in there. It took me so long to decide. And I came out with this, the Jamieson Spindrift, and also another Sanders Garn Pigant. And this is the colour 8082. And I got this because a pattern that I was considering using for this yarn, this sweater, was the Petite Knit Ingrid sweater. I love that pattern. I want to make it anyway. Like, I know that I want to make that pattern out of something, but it's a bit of a departure from the Suzanne Niels jumper in that it's got like lots of different textures rather than just that like lace cable bobble situation. But there's probably a way that I could incorporate bobbles into the Ingrid and somehow combine them, maybe. Basically, I saw someone had made the Ingrid jumper on Ravelry with this yarn paired with a mohair, and I just wanted to see, because if this didn't work, like, they're very different textures. I got one ball of each, and I'm just going to test out what kind of makes a better texture. And then I'll probably take gauge from that, from whichever sample is right, and then I'll probably go on to find a pattern or make a pattern. It's funny because I kind of do the same thing with sewing, where I start with the fabric, and then whatever the fabric feels like it should be, then I make that, rather than having an idea of what I want to make and then going out and finding the fabric to make that. For some reason that just doesn't really work in my brain. Like, that way round seems backwards. So that is that project. In the bottom of this bag I have this like random drops in a pool order that I did. They're these lovely colours that actually work really well together, but when I bought them, when they arrived, I was just like, why did I get that? I don't understand what I was thinking. because these are not colours I wear ever. But looking at them, I think that they could be a really good, what's it called? It's like a Lena Holm Samso. Maybe that's even what it's called. Maybe that's the name of the pattern. I'll put the pattern here. It's a lovely like colour work design. The thing is, I really like the colours of the original. So I don't know why I would have bought these colours to make that jumper. But that's the only jumper I can find that has like 3 colours in this weight and this quantity. So I think it must have been that I wanted. But anyway, that is to come, hopefully. And actually this yarn is getting moth-eaten, so I really need to just knit with it now. Now I can show you my finished objects, which is very exciting. So 2 finished objects. I have a sort of other work in progress going on at home, but I didn't bring that with me. So that's how much of a work in progress it is. The first one is this beanie hat, made out of the scraps that I have of Cascade 220. Can't remember what weight, but it's the colourway Shire. I just had some scraps left over from when I frogged that jumper and then remade another one. I'll link the video. And yeah, I made this beanie. Free beanie pattern, I'll link it again. It's a bit big. It's a little bit big. Like, could be a little bit snugger, but it's cute, it's okay, it's very simple. It's nothing to write home about, really. And then, in a similar vein, in a very similar vein, I have basically an exact replica of the Wallace and Gromit waistcoat that Wallace wears. So this is the same colourway. This is Cascade Eco Plus in the colourway Shire. And so this is the exact yarn that I used to make my brother's 30th birthday jumper, which, by the way, can you believe it? He wants me to unpick the OK on that jumper. If you're also outraged by that, please leave a comment, because I mean, I'll do it for him. Like, I would rather he wore the jumper than didn't wear it because it had this thing on it. But like, I think that's the best part of it, and I really like it, and I spent loads of time on it and everything. So I'm kind of bummed that he wants me to unpick that part of it. So let me know your thoughts on that, please, in the comments below. Anyway, so this is the Korshavn Slipover by someone I can't remember. Her name is here. Love this pattern, very cute. I made quite a few adjustments though. In the pattern, she tells you to do these like increase decreases between where you switch between knits and purls so that you get the holes in the basket weave. And that is like how everyone does basket weave, so that's fine, but I just really don't like holes like that. I didn't want holes in my knitting, so I did that for the first couple of rows, and then I actually stopped doing that. I still did the yarn overs, but I didn't knit into the back of the yarn over. I twisted it so that the hole was slightly smaller, and that sort of made it like a good texture for me, I think. So she says to start your armhole after just 2 of these basket weave rows, so we'd have started there, but I actually did 1.5 more because I wanted my armhole just slightly higher up under the arm. She also says to do like a double folded, like you do with the collar, where you knit the rib and then you knit it double the height and then you fold it back and sew it in. And I didn't do that because I didn't want it to be like a massive clunky shoulder. But I kind of regret that because now I think it's a little bit too narrow. I think I went too far the other way, and it also doesn't look as substantial as the neck. They kind of mismatch a little bit. So that's a very easy thing for me to go back in and change, so I might do that. I probably won't, will I? Let's be honest. I love the basket weave fabric. I really love that technique. I think it's very effective. The only thing is, It feels at the moment a little bit like sea of green. So I think I might try and like break up the green somehow by maybe embroidering some flowers or putting like some chain stitch fruit on it or something. I don't really know. But there's something about it just being like a big block of green. It just feels like it needs something to break that up, some kind of pop of colour. I think that's everything. I'm also knitting a sock. Well, I'm supposed to be knitting 2 socks, but we all know how that goes. I've knitted one, I haven't even sewn the ends in. I know all the mistakes I've made. I don't want to knit the second one. I probably never will. I'm tempted to do it and then give it to someone as a present, but also I don't think it's good enough to give to someone as a present. It's very wonky. Don't know, TBC. I think that's all my knitting updates. I'm having an amazing time in this tiny, tiny little cottage. I've had such an amazing day, like meeting those people with the dog. That was just lovely. And like, even if I don't end up getting a dog that's from their litter, spending a day with dogs is lovely, and meeting that breed and knowing that Munsterlander absolutely is the breed that I want. I'm really torn, like I'm in a really weird place because obviously I really want to go to drama school. I really, really want that. And I remember like the feeling when I'm in rehearsal and when I'm performing, and I know that that is what I want to do. But I also know that there are no guarantees in acting. And there's this other side of me that, you know, I know that in my life, I want a dog, I want children, I want to live in France probably, or at least the countryside. I want to own a home. Just there's so many things that I want to do, and I can't think how they're all compatible with each other right now. And a part of me feels like maybe this is a sign that that's the pathway to follow. I do not know what to do. There's nothing to do right now. So the fact that I don't know yet is okay. It's just agony. I just have to sit in it and embrace not knowing. I'll figure it out somehow. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for coming along with me on this little trip. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Bees. Bees, bees, bees. Go get warm.